I was at school, and the Romanian language class had already started, and the teacher was talking to us about it, a scientific, fantastic work that we were going to study. Being the first hour in the schedule of that day, and because I had gone to bed late last night, I was a bit sleepy. I heard through the fog about galaxies, spaceships, time travel, and I don't know what he also told us, because suddenly I woke up alone on a foreign planet. I was very scared to see a ship next to me, and when the door of that shuttle opened, in it 3 aliens came down, about my height, with green eyes, pink skin, and black hair. I was really amazed. I realized that I was on another planet, a real alien world. Then I found out that the 3 aliens were called Crix, Aslan, and Xsenia. They told me that I fell asleep in the bank, and the words read by the language teacher, Romanian, were some magic words, and the book we were learning from absorbed us in her world. They also told me that everyone in the class is now on this planet called Crixaslania. Hearing that all my colleagues and the headmistress were with me on that planet, I was very happy, but the aliens told me that none of my colleagues are as they were before. They became characters from the opera Crixaslania that we were studying, and the conductor turned into a witch with evil powers. Very bad. She couldn't remember us. She heard her past. Hearing these things, we immediately boarded the spaceship and started looking for my colleagues, hoping that they had not forgotten their past. Looking around me, I noticed that that planet was very beautiful. The trees were made of emeralds, the earth was made of rubies, and the water had very strange colors. It was blue, red, purple, white, all colors. Almost birds of the sky, my eyes, the beauty of that planet, because there are no right words to express it. There were many other talking animals that served that witch. Her castle was in a dark and scary place, as was everything around the castle. I was shown some visions of my colleagues, and I saw that 4 of them were captured in that witch's castle, and their physical appearance was completely changed. They were trapped behind bars built from the witch's evil power, and enchanted so you couldn't get out of there. The 4 captured colleagues were Razvan, now Edmund, Paul, who was Ptex, Angelica, being Axanoxa, and Diana was now Xsenia. Each of them was now a phenomenon of the nature. Edmund was the phenomenon of the wind, Ptex was the fire, Axanoxa the air, and Xsenia was the phenomenon of the earth. The witch, named Tuitia, kidnapped their powers, and soon she will master those phenomena in an evil way. She had a black, red-eyed owl that followed everything and informed the witch about everything. After I had that vision, I woke up to reality and started with the 3 friends, Crix, Aslan, and Xsenia, to save my colleagues. Suddenly, however, I transformed into a being with extraordinary powers, and my appearance was that of a warrior named Foleos. Seeing this transformation of mine, the 3 friends said that I am the chosen one who will save that world. I then found out that there was another fairy, one of my colleagues, Delia, who became the Fairy Aphrodite with supernatural powers, and who was on the side of good. She had a magic wand. She was very beautiful, and she lived somewhere deep in the seas. I had to go to her to give me the sword of justice and good peace. I arrived at the place where she lived, and after I got off the ship, even the Fairy Aphrodite came out of the sea, holding the sword of justice in her hand. The fairy shone in a special way that took your eyes off how beautiful she was. She wore a dress made of emeralds, rubies, corals, and around her neck she had a chain made of pearls and golden fish that were spinning around her neck. Her eyes were of all colors, red, green, blue, purple, orange, and when she was moved, they turned black. Her dress shone with the multitude of precious stones of which she was made. Her skin was very white and sensitive, her voice warm, and her smile was indescribable.
He told me that the sword of justice was worthy only in the hand of the chosen one to save mankind from the power of the evil witch. Aphrodite then came with us to save my 4 colleagues, but when we entered the witch's estate, the owl announced to her mistress of our coming, forming an evil field preventing us from entering the castle. The fairy told me that only if we find her and her other colleagues we'll be able to defeat her. This time, the Xsenia took us to her palace in the kingdom, where there were all kinds of talking animals, such as centaurs, fawns, lions, and tigers, these being gentle because they were on the side of Fairy Aphrodania. We rested one day in the Xsenia's palace, and the next day we went in search of lost colleagues. Carefully searching everything around us, we noticed that the planet had become dark and colorless because the witch had taken over everywhere and transformed everything with her evil power. At one point, I had a different vision about my other colleagues, Mariana being now Susan, Louisa becoming Zaliza, Maria being Xamaria, Vlad being Tavlos, Alex being Selax, and Alexandra being now Rebelax. They all had the power of the Phonics, a power on which if an allied with mine and Xsenia's, but also with my other 4 colleagues, I became invincible. Waking up from my vision, I started looking for them and found them in a dark cave closed by the evil energies of the witch. Immediately, Xsenia and I allied our powers, and after a long time I released my colleagues, then formed the power of the Phonics. Xsenia and I weakened our powers, so we returned to her pallet to return. The next day, we set off again to save the 4 colleagues, the 4 phenomena. An idea came to us through which we could save our friends, namely to transform us exactly into those beings who were under the control of the witch. We hoped that our plan to work and not to be discovered. We went to the witch's castle. Everything went according to our plan, and the owl that stood guard did not notice us under our new appearances. We arrived exactly when the guards were served, and waiting at the right moment, we arrived at the place where our friends were locked up, without anyone noticing us. Then we took our faces again. With the help of our magical powers, we finally managed to save our colleagues. We were all very happy to see each other again, but this moment did not last long, as suddenly the evil witch appeared. Then, gathering all our strength, we managed to destroy the witch, who, to our great happiness, turned again into the teacher. But she did not remember us or her past. I then noticed that we all have a ruby around our necks, and we realized that we have to unite them to create a magical substance that will help her regain her memory. So we did. After we joined them, they turned into a mosaic, and in the middle was a golden bottle. In it was our hope to save the true person of the headmistress. I gave her a drink of that liqueur, and suddenly she fully recovered, and after she recognized us all, we hugged. And then we saw that the whole planet Crixaslania was completely transformed, returning to the previous beauty, and the dark palace became one of beauty detached from fairy tales, and the black owl turned into a white swan like milk foam and graceful, and every hour she made a golden egg. All the creatures before under the power of the witch now turned into aliens who represented the phenomena of that planet. There were fairies, goddesses, the powers of the Phonics, all returned to their normal state. In them, there were powers that came out of us, united, and gave birth to a unique and special being, a queen of all those on the planet Crixaslania. There's a lot to tell about how this queen called for our help to save her planet, so I leave it to you to imagine how this happened. But now we will return to ours, because the queen, after she thanked us wholeheartedly for our help, she teleported us back to Earth in our class. He also told us that when we want to return to the planet Crixaslania, we just have to get together and say the magic words from the opera with the same name as that planet. Although now on Earth we're just ordinary people, we're proud that on Crixaslania we are real heroes.